Okay, podcast starts now. Wow.
Wow.
We are coming in so deeply red hot.
It's crazy. I think we're gonna tell the story while maintaining a sense of empathy for everyone involved.
Empathy is so important to remember.
While maintaining a sense of social justice.
Of course.
We are coming at everything we're about to say from a sense of how do we redistribute wealth?
Of course, that is the key to everything that we will be saying. But I also want to just counter that slightly and say we'll also be coming from a place of self-love and self-respect.
I have never had more self-love or self-respect in my life, to the point where I would say I'm romantically attracted to myself.
Yeah.
In a way that feels a little perverse. It's sick even.
It's nasty.
It's disgusting. And it's giving sort of, it's very like, when Janet Jackson on tour would do those especially sexy parts where she like humped someone on stage, except I have none of her grace or talent. So it seems it's coming from me. It feels a little like, whoa, is he okay?
Yeah, and it's you humping you, so it's like really messy to look at.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm humping my own leg. Like a dog.
Like a dog. Like a very flexible dog.
And by the way, yeah, other people are in the room. I'm like doing this sort of in the middle of a business meeting, in the middle of a board meeting even.
But the whole thing is you don't care because you are so filled with self-love and self-respect.
Exactly. And by the way, dead sober, 10 a.m. This is not some sort of, I don't have a drug problem or a drinking problem.
Honey, I'm about to.
Well,
after the story.
Maybe that's the solution to our issues. I mean, what it comes down to, you know what, you should say.
No, you should say it. I think I'm actually too biased, and I don't know if I could be leading with love and leading with empathy.
The thing with leading with love is like, there is not a single person I can point to and be like, you are on timeout at the public school PS 69 that we are part of.
Sure.
There's not a single person I can point to and say, this is your fault. But sometimes there are too many people involved in a decision-making process, and communication breaks down. And that leads me to my story, which is that pretty much we went into the building where we record.
Yes.
Gave our names to the front desk.
It's 10 a.m.
It's 10 a.m., the time when we were supposed to record.
Of course.
Gave our names to the front desk person, and then commenced a sort of who's on first comedic sketch that you might find on, let's say, SNL or the Catherine Tate Show if you're British. That lasted approximately 25 minutes, I would say.
Yeah.
Of sort of someone re-adding us to a list, then that list being in the hands of the wrong person, so that when the downstairs person called the upstairs person, she was like, no, I don't know about that list, but then we would show the list, and then we would show a name of a person, be like, well, can you call this person? He's like, of course I can call them. Can they come downstairs? We're like, well, no, if they could come downstairs, then we wouldn't be giving you a phone number, we'd be giving you a person, a warm human body.
And so then we are stuck downstairs.
Well, I want everyone to imagine this visual. It's
visually, it's a fancy businessy building.
Fancy businessy building. People going in and out. We are talking women with blazers that cost upwards of $10 million.
We are both dressed in collared shirts, and yet we still look like absolute trash.
Well, I mean, I'm not even going to look down at our pants, but I can guess both of them are stained.
Every single person that passed us, you could feel them being like, ew, like who let them in?
Well, we were holding coffee cups. People kept putting coins in them.
And then to get denied at the door, it just like fed into their narrative of like,
exactly.
Oh, these people
don't belong here.
They don't belong here. They're not welcome. And in fact, we should get them out of the city.
Yeah, it's sort of crazy to be on so many lists, 17 lists total probably at this point, and yet to be denied entry again and again and again.
The way that as soon as you were denied entry in a place where you, are literally supposed to be, the way it makes you indignant instantly, like it's really hard for me not to be like, I run a fucking podcast, right? Yeah. I have a fucking podcast that, Vulture really seems to like. Does that mean nothing in this town anymore? Suddenly New York media is dead.
Can I say something, though, to bring it back to social justice?
Sure.
Because we have to acknowledge our own psychoses here. Here's the thing. What we're mad about is that the door to the elite was open to us and then closed. Like we are coming from a place of elitism and newfound privilege.
True.
Where we are like, if it's like gun to your head, do you think everyone should be allowed in the iHeart studio? Suddenly you're being exclusionary. You're like, well, no, we are because we're on the list. We are not coming at it from like a liberatory point of view. We're being sort of toxic.
No, I have to disagree with you. I actually do kind of think everyone should be on the list. I think there should still be a door guy.
Okay.
But you should be able to be like, no, I have a meeting or whatever. And it can be a lie.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're lying. But you do have to lie. And then he has to be like, okay, you're good then.
Okay, so you want to
I want, like,
maintain the
a trust.
aesthetics of, downstairs, upstairs, Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
anyone, any of the Downton Abbey, cooks can just sort of put on a hat and be like, well, I'm going upstairs.
Well, what a fun story for them to tell. Be like, I put on a hat, I went upstairs,
Yeah.
no one said anything, and then I went back downstairs and went back to work.
Yeah, and guess what? Maybe the rich people can go downstairs for sort of like unethical tourism.
Yeah.
And
take some pics.
And they can take a pics of them like cooking a stew and be like, look at me, boy.
I'm being so lower class right now.
Okay. So you want basically like corporate America as a whole to become more of a cabaret.
Of course. Well, I want the door guy to be theater, of course.
Well, the door guy should be a very tall drag queen.
Yeah. The whole thing.
Towering over you.
I want bar culture. I want to show my ID,
all right.
and they're
Yeah,
like, okay,
yes.
yeah, you're alive,
Yeah.
and then it's like, go ahead upstairs.
Oh, that would be fun.
Like you're over 21, go for it.
wow.
That's literally like that's kind of what I thought a door person was, even in a corporate building. Like I was like,
Totally.
you're not actually checking for names. Like there's so many names and so many people.
Well, it's so funny because I feel like you were so taken aback by everything that was happening. To some extent, as was I. But there's part of me that almost expects that whenever I enter a fancy building, I will be turned away the first 3 times I ask. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, even as I was saying my name to the front desk person, I was like, well, he's gonna say no. And then it's like my job to convince him that I'm worthy.
Yeah.
It never occurred to me that he would immediately like look down and be like, "Oh, we've been expecting you. Do you want a free matcha?"
Well, I think the reason I want it to be so I want corporate America to be a cabaret is because whenever I walk into a building, I am pretending. I'm instantly like,
Right.
I work here. I'm an employee. Like when he was like, "Are you visiting or do you?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like visiting, I guess I could be, but I also could be working here.
You know what this reminds me of recently? We need to bring in our guest, Stat, but this reminds me of recently when you were talking about someone and you were describing how there was sort of maybe a lack of communication between the two of you, or you had some issues with him, and you were like, well, I'm silly and he's serious. Do you remember this?
No. Who was I talking about? Oh yeah, okay.
And that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting again. It's like actually what's going on is that you come from the culture of silliness,
yeah,
and you are rubbing up against a culture of dead seriousness. Like there's no sense of camp to whether someone is or is not on the list.
Have some fun with it.
Yeah.
It's also like everything's fake. Your job is fake.
Totally.
Everything, like being the door guy at the corporate building. Come on.
Okay, if you're listening, your job is not fake, and you are valid. And you are just as valid as the CEO of iHeart.
Well, I think it's all fake. I'm like, just let me up. Let me up and let me speak into the microphone.
Yeah. Well, it's not fake. A physical book that you can get at a bookstore.
Which our guest bravely created. We're so bad at promoting.
No, we're not. We're really good at it.
Okay.
Our guest, first of all, I have to say this is sort of a first episode where I was like, let's fucking promote a book. This is the product that our guest is promoting is not an afterthought. This is a sponsored episode.
Yeah.
Because I texted her and I was like, do you want to come on and have your straight topic be hot dogs? Like that, I should be a marketing.
This is a sponsored post.
This is a sponsored post.
This is an hour-long
But by
sponsored post.
choice. It's not like her team reached out and we were like, sure, we'll do it.
Well, she's a small business.
Well,
first
she is
of
a
all.
small business.
She's a small business and a person.
Yeah.
But a small business first.
Well, that's an oxymoron because all small businesses are people, and big businesses even more so. Okay, well, we have to bring her up. Now we're being sort of the campy drag queens that are bringing someone in.
I know, we
in
are
a
being
fun
that.
way.
Yeah. Well, and we should say the title of the book. That's key to promoting.
Yes. Yes, the book is called Raw Dog.
And it's
And
out?
It's out. It's been out for like a week. Well, at this point, it'll be out for like 2 weeks. Anyway, Jamie, hi.
Hi.
Jamie Loftus, hi.
It's Jamie Loftus. Hello.
This was so thrilling. Okay, so I was, as you know, almost a half hour late, so I missed the entire Camus play that you performed.
Well,
I sailed. I mean, not
you
to,
really did.
I really sailed right in.
You
I went
really
right up
got
to the
lucky.
best. I didn't even need to show my ID. They asked me
Yeah.
my last name. I didn't even give the first 3 letters, even though people usually mess it up. And I just came right up.
Well, you missed the other chapter of this, which is that they did end up, after many attempts, they did put us on the list, and then we went back and we were like, wait, you do have Jamie Loftus too, right? And he's like, who? And we're like,
No.
ah!
He was like, I only heard the 2 of you. And it was like, oh my God.
It's wild too, because when you get up here, it's empty. There's no one here. It's so much work to be in. And I work for this company, so I feel comfortable saying one of the most haunting buildings I've ever been inside of. The
building-
hallways were like yelling at us when we walked down.
Right.
The hallway.
So when you enter, there's a hallway that is motion activated, and every step you take, you get a new audio cue.
It was very like Kendall Roy's 40th birthday.
Yes.
In the hallway. We were like,
Yes.
what the fuck is going on? Surely we could use this money to give people raises, But
Yeah, hire 15 more front desk people. See if they let us in. One of them has to have a sense of camp and wonder.
I do
Honestly.
wish the person at the front desk was taller.
Yeah. I know that would
that
would give
would've
us more confidence.
I do think you're speaking to something kind of powerful. If there were maybe 15 front desk people, we could break one of them. And I think that would be sort of fun to go down the line.
Yeah.
Just a jury's worth
Totally,
of
the
people
jury,
in the
yeah.
front desk. I like that.
Oh my God, I would love it if it was a literal jury.
They just-
and they all had to discuss. They're like, what are your names? Sam and George? Okay, we'll get back to you. And they go into the room, and one of them is like, this is about justice.
I want 12 angry men to
Yeah.
decide whether I should go in the building. It felt, thank you for your labor, first of all, for your efforts.
Thank you. Yeah.
Prior to my arrival, because I'm regularly, I think, also expect to be turned away from the building. I went to the Bloomberg building a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And that
She's
was
running.
And that was one of the most chilling check-in experiences of my entire life, because I was like wearing 2 jackets
Sure.
and sweating a little bit, looking a little out of place, and it took 20 minutes for me to get up, because I think that I just looked implausible in the space in my little puffer jacket and my large sweater.
Yeah, it really is. Books can be written, I mean, maybe your next book, about the politics and aesthetics of big office buildings.
It's a bit scary.
Each of them is a mini fascist state.
I mean, this room, not to put too fine a point on it, is also pretty scary.
Well, we actually love recording in the red room.
Really,
People have died to record in this room.
Yeah, the red, that's blood.
it's very shining-y. I mean, I don't.
No, it's true. I hate when people say this because it means nothing, but it's like when people are like, it's a liminal space.
It kind of is a
You know what I
liminal space,
mean?
right? Sometimes I say that and I'm like, that wasn't right.
Right.
But no one has ever disagreed with me when
know.
I've said it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the key with liminal space is no one knows what it means, and it has
Yeah.
lost all meaning, actually. I also think liminal space has died as a phrase.
Yeah.
People
I
don't say it
think
anymore.
It got too big too fast.
Yeah.
Who killed it?
Who killed it? Honestly, that Twitter account that was like liminal spaces.
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever.
And it would just post like creepy hallways. And you're like, yeah, that's a hallway, sweetheart.
It's just like how there's no longer truly a shirt that goes hard.
There's
After
no.
Yeah.
this point in culture, there's no point in saying a shirt goes hard.
Okay, can I say something about shirts that go hard? I was recently I've actually been meaning to tell this story for months.
Oh wow.
I was recently at a dinner
Okay.
after an art opening. Okay, so we're talking,
Ooh.
Artsy, fancy, wealth.
Uh-huh.
I look around the table. I swear to God, it is a group of all 40-year-old men. Every single one of them is wearing fake comedic merch of some sort.
Oh no.
What style?
Like, well, I don't want to say specific, but imagine if it's like,
Say their names. Drop it.
like one of them was like fake Mets merch, like Mets the baseball team, but instead of Mets it said like something else in that font. You know what it's like?
Sure,
things
sure.
like
Yeah.
that, or like
Yeah.
or it'll be like a hat, and rather than having a logo we're all familiar with, it'll say like butt or whatever. I mean, they were a little more sophisticated
Something
than that.
a little different.
But I was
yeah.
sort of like, okay, we are reaching. I feel like it's like the culture of like online ceramics and A24 merch and all that stuff. It has reached a fever pitch where suddenly everyone's closets are just filled with fake merch, and you're like, wear a suit.
Well,
That's gonna be counterculture soon. Like, I wore a tuxedo.
I genuinely think wearing a suit will be counterculture.
That's so bizarre. I mean, I'm participating in it right now with my little shirt.
Well, you are wearing a t-shirt. Would you like to describe your t-shirt?
Yeah. I mean, and I paid $40 for it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a bunch of Cathy's, and it says ACK flag.
Yeah.
It's in the shape of black.
The black flag
Yes.
t-shirt. I mean, I do think it is an incredible
Yeah, I
t-shirt,
stand yours.
I
gotta
have to say, it's a very charming shirt,
It is.
but it's a part of the problem, and I cannot recuse myself from it. I can't participate in this conversation with the benefit. The listeners
Yeah.
don't know there's no video, so
Of course.
well,
Exactly.
and how would
which is
they?
a whole other thing.
And how would they know, considering? Uh-oh,
I
you're
brought up
hitting
the
my
second
pressure
row.
points.
That's the third rail. The fact that this episode has no video.
Oh, we are falling apart.
The alarm is ringing. Beep, beep, beep. Get them out of there.
I'm about to be silenced.
Well, we've already been visually silenced.
Oh my god.
True.
Wait, I had something to say about that and I completely forgot, which is so iconic.
Fake
Shirts that go
merch,
hard.
shirts that
Fake
go
merch.
hard.
Oh, the how we are feeling towards A24 merch is so deeply confusing to me.
Yeah.
Because
How
it
do we feel
almost
about it now?
I feel like it was cool for a split second,
Yeah.
and now it's like people are making fun of it, but also everyone owns it.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm
Well, because they give it out like hotcakes at every event.
They give it out like liquid death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
well, it makes me fearful. I feel like bad for the people that bought it.
Totally.
Because I'm like, you thought you were like doing something cool and new, and then so quickly it became a hack.
But here's my thing with A24 merch and with a lot of that stuff. I sort of think the point of it isn't for it to be worn. It's like for it to be out there. Like for someone, you see an Instagram of it, you see someone making fun of it, you see some celebrity wearing it at a promotional event, and you're just like, okay, good, it's there. I feel safe. I can see this movie if there's merch of it.
I haven't ever purchased any A24 merch, but I do like the idea of the beach towel. I think about the beach towel
Yeah.
every so often.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't go to the beach, so I would never see it. But I
Yeah.
think if I had it, I would use it as a bath towel. I'd use it at my house.
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret.
Oh.
The way you get those bath towels is by going to one of their summer outdoor screenings and then stealing it.
No. I mean, I guess I'll go see another, thriller that makes me think. Why not?
Yeah.
I,
Go see Beau is Afraid.
I have an insane thought I
What
want
is
to pitch
it?
to the table.
Yeah.
I think Methinks is back.
Oh my god. Okay.
Methinks is
I'm gonna
back.
pass out.
It is 10:46 a.m. and Methinks is back.
Where did that come from?
I was thinking about shirts that go hard and like dumb internet language.
Yeah. Do you think interwebs is gonna come back?
Yeah, I think.
Wow.
I think like the cheesy stuff
Yeah.
is like gonna be coming back in a big way.
Well, it's sort of the flip side of indie sleaze. It's like indie sleaze is like the too cool for school people during that era, and the people that were not too cool were like the interwebs, methinks.
Yeah.
And guess what? If
That's a
anything,
production company name.
yeah.
The interwebs Methinks.
Yeah, it's actually A24's in-house production company.
It's back to 2006, baby. We
Yeah.
can do this. We can go back.
I mean, maybe we should, honestly.
Methinks we should. The other day it came out of me completely against my will, and I was like, why did I say that? And then I was getting drinks with dear friends, and it came out of their mouths,
No.
and they're cool.
What did they say? Wait, what context did they use
Yeah.
methinks?
We were just having a drink, and they said something about something about summer, and methinks this is going to be a good summer or something. And I was like, wait a minute, if two people do it, it's a trend.
No one flinched at the table.
No, I mean we laughed and we were like, and then I proposed that Methinks is back.
Wow, New York is amazing.
It's the center of culture.
I mean, there is a point, sort of, as things become, as the concept of irony like eats its own tail. It's like things go from earnest to ironic so fast that they basically just are born as ironic to begin with.
Yeah.
And you're like, I guess we will reach a point where it's just like a sea of reference, and like it doesn't sort of matter which one you choose as long as you say a
I'm trying to think of how I would use methinks. I know I'm gonna like try to drop it into the episode at the perfect moment, and it's not gonna hit the way.
No, it's gonna hit.
No, it's gonna
You
hit.
have such a great sense of that stuff.
Yeah. I do think you, of all people, could be the thought leader to bring methinks back into the mainstream.
I'll
Just
really
say it in all your
some
book events. Actually,
Methinks
it would be
the
great
hot
if
dog is back.
from now on, every time you do an interview, you have to start every sentence with methinks.
I'm going to the Mark Twain house tomorrow. I feel like it will be just
Whoa.
slide right in
Yeah.
there. Methinks it will.
Oh my God, it's already happening.
I can feel it. Kind of feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel. I mean, because I feel like I thought about methinks as like a kind of a fedora coated.
Sure.
word, like
sure.
methinks the lady
Of course.
would
Yeah.
like another drink
Yeah.
type of thing. But that reminds me of I don't know. Those aren't the worst dates that I've been on with me.
You've been
with methinks
on
types.
dates with Fedora, methinks guys.
This is a uniquely like sort of straight coded woman experience that we like don't know about. It's
Yeah.
like meeting these because these kinds of straight men don't have like gay friends, obviously. So it's like it's this secret world.
That's
They
true.
might have
But
gay
do you know what I mean?
siblings.
Like
Yeah,
sometimes
no,
you just
absolutely.
you hear dating stories from women, you meaning like a gay guy. Hear stories from women, and you're like, whoa, like in the movies, like there are guys like that in real life.
Yeah, yeah.
There are. They're out there, and they don't have any friends that will tell them that
Yeah.
it's like a confusing and disorienting thing to do.
Do you ever? Is it like a? Do you like stop the date if they're like that, or are you like, well, let's see where it goes?
I've never stopped a date in my life because I'm afraid. And so, but no, the one I'm thinking of was like a guy I had a crush in high school. Like it was like a date that was like 7 years in the making. I'd gotten out of college. I'd gotten out of this horrible relationship, and I like ran into him when I was visiting home, and he thinks that we should go on a little date one day. And I was like so thrilled. I texted all my friends from high school, and it turns out he was a methinks type the whole time. And he really wanted some like foamy IPAs with me and to catch up. I haven't seen him since, but he wore a fun little hat.
Oh man.
And he thinks I needed a second drink.
Damn.
And he was right about that. And then I left.
Damn.
Methinks the lady would like another glass of ale.
Some grog.
Some
Yeah.
grog. Yeah.
I don't know. Could we
Wow.
bring back grog? Could we? Is there a place where we could get D&D language into everyday life?
Yeah, I mean, then it's
I would
always
rather
tough
not.
when same. It's always tough when you circle around the general field of nerd culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's so loaded.
It is.
Because it is
Yes.
simultaneously the underdog and what is dominating the entire entertainment industry at any given point.
And
Right.
when you say something about it, you don't realize, or when you say something negative about it, you're hurting someone you love, and you don't know
Yeah,
it.
Chris Hardwick.
I love Chris Hardwick.
We
And
as
I
a
would-
podcast
I would never
love
wanna
Chris
hurt him.
Hardwick.
No, I don't care how big his house is.
Mm-mm.
I don't care how far they put him into Hearst Mansion or
Nope.
whatever.
I think the gay equivalent. I was recently at like a gay campground
Uh-huh.
where like I'd say there were some lovely people there, but I do think the humor level was lacking in
Yeah.
sort of a similar way.
Totally.
Where it was like I heard people like playing volleyball, and I overheard them be like, "Oh, well, what should our team name be?" And then one of them goes,
No.
"Oh, the sexy bitches," and then everyone, ha 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 ha, that is amazing. And it was like, we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard.
People can't tell, but I'm pressing the button that launches me into outer space, and it's not working.
That also feels very 2006.
It's very 2006. It's
Yeah.
very like, if you can put it on a mug, you shouldn't say it out loud. Like, you need to think bigger. And I understand that we all come to this place to relax and let our hair down. But and maybe it's a slow process. You don't need to be there immediately, but like next time you're here, I need you to have a higher level of humor.
We can do better than sexy bitches. I mean, how many master's degrees do you think were on that volleyball team?
Oh my God, at least 2.
Just absurd. Just ridiculous.
And people, I understand people are trying to be polite by like laughing at everything. But it really, really teaches the wrong lesson sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's so powerful to hold back that laugh.
Wow, Sam Taggart railing against participation trophies in our culture.
I can't help it. I'm so cranky. I'm going to be an absolute
No,
sexy bitch today.
you are. In fact, the going off alarm has been rung. Do you think we should do our first segment and then absolutely rush into talking about the topic, aka the book that is sponsoring this episode?
Yeah, I think we should absolutely do the
Cool.
first segment.
It's gonna be
Jamie
seamless.
Loftus, two-time guest Jamie Loftus. Our first segment is called Straight Shooters, and in this segment, we ask you a series of rapid-fire questions where you have to choose one thing or another thing to test your familiarity with and complicity in straight culture. And the one rule is you can't ask any follow-up questions about how the game works, and if you do, we will quite literally do verbal abuse to you.
I really like that. I like that. Okay. I have no questions.
Sam?
Okay, Jamie,
Yes.
sipping a cold brew or sucking a hot dude?
Sucking a hot dude.
Okay, Jamie. Eating a sloppy Joe or voting for Sleepy Joe?
Eating a sloppy Joe.
Okay, Paul McCartney's temporary secretary or MGMT's oracular spectacular?
Good.
Ooh. I think oracular spectacular. That's so embarrassing.
Okay, Jamie. Strutting your stuff on the red carpet or saying that's enough at the farmer's market?
Strutting my stuff at the red carpet. I don't have the confidence to go to the farmer's market.
Okay, marrying your high school sweetheart or burying your college Bachelor of Arts in your parents' basement?
Burying my Bachelor of Arts for sure.
Stacy's mom has got it going on or our Father who art in heaven?
Our Father who art in heaven. That's making a comeback as well.
Yes, very much so.
Religion is so big right now. Pip Pip Cheerio or crisscross applesauce?
Pip pip cheerio. I'm laughing already.
Tegan and Sarah or Reagan and Power?
I'm gonna kill myself.
Oh my god.
No, not again.
Not again.
Guests keep doing that.
We're too high up. We need to stop recording at the top of the
jump.
Oh, you
rock.
put me in the red room. You can't put me in the red room and say Reagan and Power. Tegan and Sarah.
Good.
Wow.
That was really good. That was
amazing.
really good performance.
Reagan and Power.
Reagan and
Reagan
Power.
and Power. Damn, I think 999 doves.
Yeah, we rank you from 1 to 1,000 doves, and I gotta
Wow.
agree that it's a 999 situation.
I'll take it.
I actually find that was a cleansing little segment.
I agree. I mean, that's sort of I have
felt
found
nice.
the point of that segment is like no matter what directions we are going in, when
Yeah.
we're completely unstructured, we can get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to address one thing you said,
Yes.
which is that the choices were between a red carpet and a farmer's market. You chose red carpet and said, I don't have the confidence to go to a farmer's market.
Is there nothing there? I feel like I have never been to a farmer's market. I walked through them
Sure.
fast, booked.
But once again, you're comparing it to a red carpet, the most elite of spaces. You're like,
would
a red
feel
carpet, I
better.
feel at home.
I would feel better because no one is like asking me. No one would ask me a question I don't know the answer to. on a red
That's
carpet.
true.
I think
At
also
the farmer's market they would.
the red carpet is a stage, and a farmer's market is like an interpersonal event. Like, I think the farmer's market, you have to like,
forum.
you're waiting in line at someone's stand, and then you have to be like, what cheese do you have? And if they're like, I have these 4
Yeah.
cheeses and I've never heard of them, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I guess I don't like any of those. Bye.
Yeah, and I hate small businesses.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's start there.
And I hate people, doing their best and making it on their own, connecting with their community. It stresses me out.
No, it's
No, but I
awful.
like there. And then if you're on a red carpet, I'm assuming you could also. It's like not inappropriate to be like, where should I go?
Mhm.
Is it like I feel like you can ask actual questions, and it's just like a good brain dead environment.
Yeah.
Where you just have to look okay, and people will ask you the easiest questions of your life, and you don't need to know about ingredients.
Yeah. It's interesting. A red carpet is like cosplaying sort of like feudalism, like it's like the worst of income inequality, capitalism, whatever. Whereas the farmer's market is cosplaying communism. And it is telling that I would know what to do more in the red carpet situation than in the farmer's market. Like in the red carpet, I'm like, I have seen enough footage of red carpets. I can so easily, like you so easily look at it and you're like, okay, those are the reporters, those are the stars, that's the carpet, that's where everyone's going. You know what's going on. At the farmer's market, it is true that you feel like you might make a mistake. And also then the meta part of that is like, and then you feel bad that you don't know your place within a communist state.
Yes. And I don't know. This is like I'm bringing my own anxieties to the table, to the red room.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like I fear judgment within the farmers market space.
Yeah.
I think if I asked the wrong question, someone would be deeply annoyed with me.
Farmers markets are like the record stores of food.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes. Ugh. I don't have the clothes, and it's so hot outside, and I don't know. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
All right. Well, see you on the red carpet.
All right.
You on the red carpet with your non-locally sourced meats.
Yeah. Jamie's just like munching on prosciutto on the red carpet.
Corporate prosciutto.
One of those like pepperoni wrapped cheese sticks that I like.
Or perhaps a hot dog.
Oh, well, look at that.
Oh, small business. So
Makes sense a transition.
So Jamie, it's funny. I was I performed even
You did.
a set.
One would say
a
you
comedy
crushed.
set. Well, one could say that.
One could say it.
If one was being literal, because I did. I performed at your big book launch, New York book launch, because you've already launched it in LA. It needs to be launched in every city.
It does,
And
including Hartford.
Yes, exactly, Hartford. But I was really raving about it to my live-in partner last night, because I was like, he's a writer, and you tend to sort of go to a lot of book events that are like, you go to like the 92nd Street Y, you go to like a bookstore, and it's like the author in conversation with, I'll say it, someone with no screen presence. And then you just like are seeing them talk, like go back and forth. The author is making some sort of like MFA references. Everyone in the crowd literally has an MFA, so they're all like, so true. And it's just sort of like, why hasn't anyone hacked a way to make this forum more enjoyable? Then I go to your event last night. We're talking, there is stand-up comedy. You had 3 costume changes. You brought up 3 different special guests that were not comedians, that were each contributing something different that had to do with hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
There was literally a point when you were interviewing one of the guests where I teared up.
Wait, which
The
guy?
hot dog king.
The hot dog king. He was amazing.
Jamie was interviewing this guy. What's his name?
His name's Dan Rossi.
Dan Rossi,
Yeah.
who has a hot dog cart outside the Met, and was talking about how he has been sued by basically every New York mayor, starting with like Giuliani, and also by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And he's like, and every time I win, and he's like, probably like 78 years old or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then he had a bar where he was like, and you have to like just keep fighting and like follow your dreams, and if you keep standing, you'll win. And then everyone's like,
yeah, it was just
Whoa.
crazy. But it was just like, I was like, wow, just put on a variety show if you want to save books.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
it's more fun, and it's less like, I don't know, it's like less work for me on stage. I don't know.
Totally.
Like you get breaks.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, so maybe think about that next time, Hanya Yanagihara.
Jamie, is it stressful for you to single-handedly have the book industry on your back?
Yes, but I feel ready. And no, I really like, I don't know, it's like I've never worked within publishing before, and it's really interesting to like putting these events together has been so bizarre and fun, because I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna have some stand-ups on the show, and it's like you've reinvented the wheel. They're
Totally.
like, hold on, you're doing what? It's like, this happens every day in your neighborhood.
In these same venues even.
Yes, in these same cavernous rooms, there are stand-ups doing a little set, but like in this way, it is revolutionary. I'm like, I would love to take credit for the idea of shows we've been doing for a decade, and be like, and I'm kind of like changing the narrative around the book.
I'm changing the narrative around book. So I want to know a little bit about, like, I mean, I do think we should get into how hot dogs are straight, because
Of course.
that is, I think, such a complimentary, because I feel like, and I have not read the book yet.
That's okay.
But based on what I know about it and what you talked and the readings you did last night, I feel like a big part of it is like hot dogs are American, hot dogs are capitalism, hot dogs are class war. hot dogs are inequality. And I think potentially the missing link with all of it, it's like the complementary thing to every idea raised in the book is where do they fall on the Kinsey scale?
I feel like it's changing. I feel optimistic. Now, this is where I need to talk about social justice as well.
Please.
Is I think that things actually are changing. And in the last 15, 20 years, the hot dog has grown increasingly queer, but that doesn't mean that we're there.
Exactly.
It just doesn't. No, I don't know. After I got that, I got last night on stage, like right before the show, I got an email from my Algebra 2 teacher that was like,
You guys talk often, or?
haven't heard from him since 10th grade, since
Whoa.
he gave me a C+ in his class.
Oh my God,
Whoa.
bitch.
Yeah,
Flop.
I did not. And I was like, and he reached out through my like little website page. And he said, like, hey, I saw that you released a book. I was your teacher in 10th grade. I really think you should write about math in your next book. I think it's really important to get the message out. The message being math.
Lord, I've seen what you've done for hot dogs.
Could you do that for
Could you
Algebra
do that
2?
for Algebra 2?
Which is wild because he has to remember how bad I was at it.
That also makes you think like someone so single-minded. It's like, okay, if he had the energy to email you that means that his entire day is basically reaching out to various people and asking them to promote math.
To
Like
promote math.
You can't be the first on it. You know, it's you know what I mean.
No.
Like I don't think this is like the first time he's done this.
I'm not an ideal candidate. Like it doesn't really make sense for him to have done it. But yeah, but I was like, wow, there's all these missing. I thought I hit every angle on the hot dog. Clearly, I missed the math
Totally.
angle. That's already been brought to my attention. And now I didn't discuss the Kinsey scale.
Well, you have
angle.
to. You did. We should say the book is called Raw Dog, and it's sort of part cultural history of the hot dog and part travelogue of this road trip that you took in the summer of 2021.
Yes.
Going around the country eating approximately 7 hot dogs a day, from what I understand.
That's correct. Yeah.
You did have one thing.
Oh no! Oh
Sam's having a
no!
panic attack.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, quite a few.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
And in
Damn.
your town.
Did that hurt or?
Yeah, it did. It didn't feel good. And I feel like it did send me into sort of like I don't know, because it's like 2021, so you're already sort of in a psychosis state. But eating that much hot dogs certainly did not improve the situation. And then people like will give you hot dogs once they find out you're the hot dog person.
Yeah.
So it those numbers can even go up. It was pretty gnarly. Yeah, there reached a point where I just like, I don't know, my brain would. I was like sleeping really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard and a lot. And the rest of the day I was eating hot dogs and taking notes about them and stuff.
Yeah, it's so crazy that the sort of the journey of creating something that is about a topic is like, okay, you're like, you pick a topic you love or are interested in, and you're like, great, so now I'm gonna like sort of drive this to the ground, and the goal is like by the end of it, inevitably you will be so sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't really happen.
But it didn't happen.
I
You
still
still
really,
like
Still love hot dogs.
I mean, I was like so excited last night to. I mean, I'm not necessarily thrilled to eat hot dogs
Sure.
at this late stage,
Yeah.
but I'm still excited about the hot dog community.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been so that is actually something I was thinking about with professional eating in the hot dog sphere specifically, because it's really like it's gotten worse over time. And I was trying to confront noted hot dog eater Crazy Legs Conti about this last night.
Who was one of the guests last night was
Oh.
a professional eater.
Okay.
Yes, and that's his legal name, so I can't tell you what his real name. That is his real name. But so I was trying to sort of grill Crazy Legs towards the end of the show about sort of the gender politics of the hot dog eating contest, because it used to be all genders, and then they split it into a men's contest and a women's contest. And I was like, has anyone ever challenged like that, or are there like non-binary hot dog eaters? Are there queer hot dog eaters? Like, and we don't know. We don't know.
They've been erased from the history books.
We don't know. And like I've looked. There's like the most I can find in terms of like pushing back against these decisions is the women's contest wants to be back on ESPN and not ESPN3 where they are now.
Whoa.
Damn.
Which is ridiculous. It genuinely makes me upset. But outside of that, I'm like, I'm like, maybe I mean, there has to be queer hot dog eaters, or maybe not. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to learn more.
I mean,
I would like for there to be,
Yeah.
but also,
listen.
I'm opening the floor.
You know what there is? I can guarantee you, some sort of 4th of July drag queen that is sort of faking doing a blowjob to a hot dog.
I have seen a hot dog eating contest with drag queens.
Yeah.
Now that.
Now
checks
that.
out.
Yeah.
That I love.
Yeah, I have seen it, but I'm like, we gotta get him in the league.
Yeah. No, totally. The queering the hot dog, it's a dangerous process because here's my guess.
Okay.
Mhm.
Not knowing much about this world is the more you queer the hot dog, the more you sort of gentrify it. Like when I imagine like, oh, we're a queer-owned hot dog vendor and they're called justice dogs.
Yeah, it's kind of
Look
giving,
under that hood, honey. There's no justice to be found.
It's kind of Portlandia sketch
Yes.
at that point.
I see. I see.
It's almost, it's again, to queer it would be to politicize it and to call it straight. Whereas right now it's almost like assumed straight but ignored. Like
Yeah.
it's like,
well, it's so straight that it is not. It does become almost camp. Like the visual of the hot dog is inherently ridiculous and funny.
Yeah.
It's like because it's so American, it's so ridiculous, it's so phallic. Like it would be so sort of like besides the point for us to be like, okay, why are hot dogs straight? Well, first of all, they're phallic. Second of all, they're unhealthy. Third of all, they're not vegan. It's like, yeah, we know.
I actually think one reason though that is sort of among that list
Yeah.
is that they're so easy to cook. I think that is part of what makes
Oh,
them
yeah.
a straight thing.
Oh, totally. And
Yeah.
it's like that's why grilling is so straight because it's like, what if cooking was easy and men could do it?
And looked
Well, that's-
tough.
Yeah, there's so much like straight dadness to like almost everyone I would talk to. They'd be like, "Oh, that's the food my dad would make me. That's the food my dad would make me because he couldn't make shit."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, this is the food that makes you love your dad, kind of."
yeah, totally.
You'd be like, "Wow, he really put in an effort
Yeah.
that day."
I mean, talk about Freudian that the food dads make is like a giant cock.
Your dad's boiling up a bunch of cocks for the family, and you're like, he's really doing his best.
Yeah.
He really is.
He's like,
Meanwhile, my mom is making sloppy joes from scratch, slaughtering the cow outside herself.
Yeah. And I'm hating
Disgusting.
it.
Hating every second of it. Where's the fucking food?
oh my god. When I think back to like how much of a bitch I was about my mom's cooking when I was a kid, and no part of it did not cross my mind that I was being hurtful. I mean, this, obviously when I was young, not when I was like 17. But it's like I remember she would make this one like meatloaf, and I would always very performatively like be like,
Well, it's hard because you are at their mercy.
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
really hard to be like, have notes.
yeah,
Like I even remember like getting groceries and like when I would be like, I don't like this type of cookie. Like I need you to stop getting me this. Like I'd rather
How'd
have
it go
nothing than have to eat this.
Wow. How'd it go over?
Not great. It would like be hurtful. And I wouldn't be that bitchy. I was, not a 30-something gay man, but
you hadn't learned. Now you go back and you're so bitchy, your mom cries every time she talks to you.
she cries, but she's also like, but honestly work.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish that there was more gay hot dog culture.
Totally.
I don't know. There's time. We've got time. I feel like and also it just takes a champion. I was trying to think if there was a place I went to on the trip
Yeah.
that was owned by not some guy. Just like
Totally.
a straight guy.
Or even if there are any people you interacted with, whether they were customers or fans or whatever, that were visibly queer.
So the crowds at my show are very queer, and so I'm like, okay, this is the opportunity
Sure.
to real. And then last night, Crazy Legs Conti gave the whole crowd of like fucking 200 people the location for the after party for the 4th of July hot dog contest, as well as the password you give at the door, which I believe was swordfish.
Whoa.
And so Crazy Legs Conti has
Invited,
opened the floodgates.
Yes, that's right.
And to invite a heavily queer audience to see Joey Chestnut, and I think we could really get some results.
Okay.
The place that I'm thinking of that I'm pretty sure was owned by a queer couple, but it was in like deep Georgia, so they were like, it was ambiguous. But it was, and they were so mean to me.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Well, yeah.
Just awful.
When they're hiding and they don't want you to expose them. So.
Yeah, here you're on a podcast outing them.
I won't say where I was. But I'm pretty sure. But I went. It was early in the morning, and their specialty was this hot dog that was like a breakfast hot dog, wet, covered in beans. They'd been working together for many years. They live together. They run the business together, and that's all they have to say about it. They were in some sort of argument when I got there about how one was afraid of chickens growing up.
This is two men?
No, two women.
Two women.
Two women. Yeah, they were in some sort of performative argument, and everyone was loving it.
Okay.
Apparently, this happens a lot, and everyone's loving it. One of them was wearing a Big Dog T-shirt. Like, they were awesome. And they made me like a pretty gnarly hot dog. It was like slap the bun down on the, and then, you know, making no, I appreciate this, making no, like, what am I trying to say? Not trying to hide the fact that the bun was from a grocery store and was just out of the bag. Slaps it down, right? Pulls out, you know, takes the tongs, takes the hot dog, can of beans, can of hot beans. So the bread is essentially just like liquid gluten at this point, and then, you know, puts it in front of me, and I'm trying to make conversation. I want to make contact. I want to know more about them. And I was like, oh, am I the first person to order a hot dog today? And they couldn't have been meaner about it. They were like, no, there's been people coming here since 5 a.m. for this. And then turned around and walked away, and then like continued their argument about one woman's fear of chickens.
Damn.
Wow.
I really liked it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the most
yelled at.
So the most the most queer moment from your research was two closeted lesbians pouring a can of beans onto the bun.
Yes.
What would you say were the straightest moments?
Ooh, the straightest moments. There's a lot of, I mean, it's kind of hard to choose. I mean, it depends on if you consider the Nathan's Contest camp, because I feel like it does sort of, so I wouldn't even say that that's the straightest thing involved. I feel like the straightest thing that was like in New Mexico. I was at this car park, and it was a guy who had run the place with his wife for like 40 years, and I ordered a hot dog, and instead of writing the order down, he instead complained that no one wants to work anymore for like 10 minutes, and then took my order.
That's classic.
I'm addicted to that. I think
that.
it's so fun. Oh, sorry, I have a different story, but keep going.
But also the concept of a car park, that's such a sort of straight phrase.
Yes.
It's like, take a park, you know, nature, beautiful butterflies, car.
And it is like, it was whatever, originally designed for straight teenagers to finger each other frantically after football games. So it is, the car park setting is
now it's been gentrified by straight hot dog vendors.
But yeah, pretty straight setting, the car park.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. When I was in Chicago, I used to live in Chicago.
Okay.
And they're a real hot dog place. They're obsessed with this stuff.
Yeah.
And in that space, I felt like it was almost able to become queer because it was like part of, it had like a specific ritual and a specific little dance to it. And like if you know, like it's got to be like this, and everyone has like their favorite place, and it was like this thing where even though they live in Chicago and have lived in Chicago forever, it's still like fun to get the hot dog.
Yeah.
And that surprised me. It felt very that's their chosen family. Is that the future of, do you think that will spread? Do you think there's a way like the hot dog could become more integral, more beloved, more seen as like something valued than something like accepted?
I think so, but it's also, it's like, it's the fine line between, because it's like cities like New York and Chicago and LA also underrated. LA eats the most hot dogs per capita of anyone in the country, but we're not, talking about
That's
it.
sort of crazy to me.
I'm shocked.
It's why it's a shocking fact, but it is true. There's a lot of hot dog places and a lot of hot dogs in LA. I think that because of the culture of LA, it's downplayed. There's a lot of great hot dogs. But like cities that have hot dog infrastructure, but it's like if you're building hot dog infrastructure in a city now, it's going to be super gentrified, and it's like, well, how do you split the difference? I don't know. I feel like you got to get like places from like small businesses from like Chicago and New York and even Michigan, let's go nuts, and then Ohio while we're at it, and get them to do like small franchises. And hopefully not like get out of control, because there's a bunch of places. The thing with LA hot dog culture is that I'm talking too much about hot dogs.
No. That's the whole point.
Is that like there's a lot of gentrified ones downtown that essentially like rip off Mexican hot dog recipes and then sell them for $14.
Got it.
So it's like, well, how do we get someone to not do that? There's a place in Chicago I would love to franchise called Fatso's Last Stand.
Oh my God, I love that.
It's so good.
Well, it definitely implies some drama.
Yeah. Yeah, he's holding on for dear life.
Yeah, it's me against the music.
And me.
Fatso is, I regret to inform you, dead.
Oh no!
He passed away a few years ago, but he was like so funny, and people, I think they tried to cancel him.
Yeah.
They tried to cancel him for body shaming himself.
Wow, the woke mob.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
the woke mob came for Fatso at Fatso's Last Stand.
He didn't even live through it. Fucking killed him. Hope you're happy.
Literally,
That's what killed him.
That's what killed him. Cancel culture.
That's what killed him. But it's so good. I don't know. And they have like, those freaky Chicago rituals with the hot dog where they're like, don't touch the counter. Or like, I like getting yelled at a little bit.
Hot dog culture is getting yelled at.
Yeah. Well, is it that place, the Wiener Circle?
Wiener Circle. That's like their whole deal.
No one, I went like last month and no one yelled at me. They couldn't have been nicer.
Oh.
I was shocked.
Maybe they're under new management.
I was shocked.
Wait, I actually don't know about this.
Wiener Circle is a place in Chicago that's like, you go there and people, they yell at you and they call you a bitch, and you like order a hot dog and they're like, here you go, you hungry bitch, or whatever.
Ooh.
That's a pretty campy hot dog.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's queer. I
Yes.
mean, that's fully LGBTQ+.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is kink positive. It is
It's
ethical
so dumb.
BDSM.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay if you come.
Yeah,
There.
exactly. Yeah.
When they yell at you. Yeah, but they're like they famously, there's like a This American Life.
There's a This American Life about it, because
That's really funny.
there's also like a complicated racial element, because like
Yes.
it's in like a white neighborhood, but it's like a lot of black employees, and it's like, this is weird, and potentially problematic.
I see. Huh.
They did when I first learned about, because I didn't know anything about anything when I started doing this, and when I learned about the Wiener Circle, they were only doing drive up, and so it was like drive up verbal abuse.
It was just like throw a tomato at
Made
you.
it look even more bizarre. I feel like in the space of the restaurant, you're like, this is what happens here. Like everyone is like welcome to have their criticism of it, because it is like pretty bizarre. But taking it to the sidewalk was very strange.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, obviously, it's always sort of heartbreaking when employees are forced to do a gimmick as part of their job.
Yes.
Whether it's something as simple as like wearing pieces of flair, or like
Dick's Last Resort,
like in
culture.
Cold Stone, where they have to like sing every time you tip them. I mean,
Yeah.
things like that. But there is another layer of weirdness when the thing they have to do is berate the customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the customers who show up, if they're not berated, they're like me, disappointed.
Right.
And what is that? I was kind of relieved.
Well, did you go? I think it also gets more mean because it's like a late night place too.
Yeah, I went at like 3 p.m. and I think that they're like, this is the nice shift.
Yeah,
This is we just want to get through the shift.
I think
And I'm
after
like,
11,
that works
you're getting
great
yelled
for
at.
me. Yeah, I think it's late at night. There was another place. There's this guy in Berkeley. The theme of the restaurant is like 70s era libertarianism. That was a pretty straight space.
Oh my God.
Such a stressful building
How did
to
that
be in.
intersect with hot dogs?
So
Read a book.
he doesn't know, but the way he added in, this is camp to me. Okay, on the menu, the hot dogs are listed with tax included, but then next to the tax, they say how much of it is tax, and then there's a little cartoon of a hot dog slashing the tax with an axe. And this guy is known for like punching customers in the face.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Very libertarian.
Very libertarian of him. Yeah, that was a pretty straight hot dog space.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
You barely made it out alive.
I didn't realize the hot dog scene was so tense, so intense, and I didn't realize that it was such a thriving subculture.
It rocks, and everyone is very much hanging by a thread.
Yeah. Well, you know what I think, and let me know if this rings true. It's like the hot dog is, at the end of the day, such a simple thing. There are only so many things you can do with it. So people, and yet it's so popular. So if you are a small business owner selling hot dogs, you have to find a way to differentiate yourself, and you can only do so much with the actual quality and content of what you're selling. And maybe that's why there's so many gimmicks, rivalries, like whatever. Do you think that is part of it?
Yeah, I think it definitely is. And there's, because it's sometimes like you can have a really good hot dog. There are really good hot dogs. But if you're running like a place that's like you want low overhead, the hot dog can only be kind of so good. And so you just have to find like maybe there are places that do like something weird to a hot dog.
Totally.
There's places where it flops hugely. There's this place in New Mexico where they put SpaghettiOs on the hot dog and you're just like, what are we doing here? But yeah, it's like you gotta have your little thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's so quintessentially American to just have this like giant industry of people desperately doing things to try to charge like 75 cents more. And you look into it, and what's at the core of it? It is a piece of the most disgusting, like plastic meat you have ever seen. And it's like, it's just like the rot at the core of it all.
It's all pain to get to like, I mean, there's places where like the gimmick is kids work here, and you're like, that can't be the gimmick. That's not a good gimmick. That's an unethical gimmick. But that's people don't, they're like, oh, I love the hot dog kid.
Wow. Anything to make a splash, I guess.
Yeah.
It's all about headlines these days in the hot dog business. Used to be about quality dog. Now it's about headlines.
Not anymore.
Damn.
Wow.
Do you ever eat hot dogs? Do either of you ever eat?
I love hot dogs.
I had 2 hot dogs last night.
Oh my gosh! Oh, because it was just Memorial Day.
Yeah, it was just Memorial Day.
Do you have a preference? Wait, what are your makes?
Well, I was thinking about this last night because you were talking about how a lot of people are anti-ketchup, and you sort of roll your eyes at like anyone with such strong opinions about what not to put. And I'm never going to be like holding a sign that's like, I hate ketchup, but I am one of the people that would prefer mustard, relish, maybe, which is, I think, the classic New York style, as I learned from the New York King last night, is mustard, relish, and a little bit of onion. I would say that. And actually, I don't even need the onion because I go back and forth with onion, but definitely mustard and relish is my preference.
I'm Chicago dog pilled. I love this stuff. You
do the salad on the dog?
I do the salad on the dog.
What
I
is
love the hot
salad on the
peppers. There's just a ton of stuff. There's like tomatoes, a celery spear, sport peppers,
too much
celery
going
salt.
on.
And you know what else? I need a giant sort of disgustingly phallic pickle on the side as well.
Oh, I like
the
that.
taste of a pickle when you're eating like a hamburger or a hot dog. I mean, there's nothing like
Well, on the Chicago dog, they put the pickle right on there.
All right, well.
Maybe they should knock it off a little.
Well, the Chicago dog was a real breakthrough for me because I was a real plain hot dog guy. Like I was like, I don't like condiments.
It's a Betty White type.
Yeah,
That's her kind of
I was a child, and it really symbolizes for me the growth from childhood to adulthood.
Yeah. That's how you knew you'd come of age.
Kind of. I was like, oh, when no one's around, like when my parents aren't around, I like this stuff.
Well, I have started. This is something I learned from my boyfriend as like a. You have sort of things in your repertoire that are quick dinners when you don't want to cook, whether it's truly like a frozen Trader Joe's dinner or whatever else. And one of the things we now just have in the freezer is sausages from, I want to say they're called like Brooklyn Dogs or some weird, some like brand like that. And it's like, it's filling. You do maybe a little side salad, put some mustard in there.
Nice.
I mean, you got yourself a beautiful dinner.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You know what I hate?
All right. Here she goes.
Okay.
Okay, when people are like, oh, you know what we should do for dinner? Like, let's grill, let's do burgers and dogs. But then someone's like, oh, actually, you know what'd be good? Burgers and brats. Like, I'm like, just do it normal, get the burgers and dogs. I hate the, like, brat as, like spitting on the lower class. Like, it's like, no, we're better than hot dogs.
A little bigger. I couldn't get it. There was someone in line last night who was like, put their hand meaningfully on the book and was like, do you get into brats?
Valid question.
And I was like, I do not. That's a separate book.
Totally.
Brats, that's out of my purview.
Yeah.
It's like a Wisconsin thing. That's Wisconsin vibes. And I honor it, but I don't want to throw brats on the grill. Be serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The serving size is all off. It's
No, I
just
really
wrong.
think a hot dog. I sort of think, I gotta say, your book is coming out like at the right time, politically and socially.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's an essential part of Biden era art.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Wow, defining the Biden era?
Period.
How embarrassing.
You're a very Biden era artist.
Yeah.
So much. You know,
Yeah, your book is giving me thinks.
around the summer where the methinks returned.
The me thinks movement.
Let me think. Oh my God, stop.
Oh, I'm really gonna just like smash
Oh,
through
the
glass.
methinks
The
movement.
methinks movement. You can't say
You can't say that
Get
stuff.
out of here.
Um,
Should we do our final segment?
yes, I think we should. You know, it's crazy. I had 1 million things I wanted to
I can
shout
start.
out.
I
and
have
now
one.
don't.
I can start
Okay.
describing it, and you can think about it. So, Jamie,
Yes.
our
Yes.
final segment. Our final segment is, of course, called Shoutouts, and in this segment, we pay homage to the classic straight tradition of radio shoutouts. You are at TRL. You are at Z100. You are calling in to shout out to your boys and girls back home.
Mm-hmm.
It is a radio shout out, and it can be anything that's on your mind lately that you want to promote out into the world.
Oh
And
my-
I can go. I have truly, it's like the most anti hot dog thing I could possibly recommend. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
What's up, Blazers? I want to give a shout out to the Metropolitan Opera's Fridays Under 40, which
my
is when,
God.
if you are under 40, you can get discount tickets to the opera. And that's right, I saw La Boheme for
No way.
$50. I have to say, there is some, you think these things are not for you. You think they're only for the 1%. But guess what? Because the 1% is dying, they are making these tiny little doors that are for people that are willing to sort of like go on the internet at a specific time and then press a button and then pay $50 for it. And you got to take advantage of that stuff before they take it away from us. Go to the Met website, get a ticket to Fridays Under 40. I had a real dream that I would be so moved by the opera that I would cry. I was honestly pretty unmoved. However, I will say that the sets were beautiful. At one point, there was a two-story Parisian market on stage, and a donkey came out. A real donkey.
Wow.
It came out just for literally the gag of a donkey being there. It had no place in the plot, and everyone was like, gag, haha, yas mama. Then a horse came out,
Whoa!
and that also was there for only a split second.
What?
I'm telling you, and I paid $50. So get out there, go to the Met website, and if you want to see a live donkey on stage, look up Fridays Under 40 and see La Boheme, and you too can be like Sharon Moonstruck.
Okay, I have one. What's up, everyone around the globe? I want to give a huge shout out to Shelter. I recently went camping and I was in a tent for 2 nights, and let me tell you, this is what no one tells you about a tent. It still gets very cold in there. The outdoors is quite violent. Even though it is beautiful, you are not comfortable at night. This is a fact. During the days, I'd be like, wow, camping's so beautiful. At night, I'd be like, I don't know if I will live through the night because it is 48 degrees. That was one of the hardest things I've ever been through in my whole life. And now I am back in buildings and I am loving it. I am living my true authentic self inside of an apartment that is inside of a building. And I am controlling the temperature, and I am laying in bed, and I am plugging my phone in at whenever I feel like it. And I have never been more myself, and I love society. XOXO.
Wow.
Yeah, it actually was tough. I don't know if it ever gets warm at night.
I hate camping.
But I hope it does, because
I hate
I love the concept, but in practice, I was like, it just is hostile out there.
Yeah.
What I ultimately want is glamping, but then you're like, okay, if I'm going to pay that much money, it genuinely feels stupid to do this. Like, just stay at a hotel.
What are you doing? Yeah, you're like the mean family
Yeah,
in a Goofy movie.
Yeah.
You do that. You can't do that.
Well, Jamie, whenever you're ready.
All right. What's up, losers? I'd like to shout out my pet rock coming back again. I was so thrilled the other day. I've had a pet rock since 2006. I love her. She's in my pocket right now. I love my pet rock. I got it at a baseball game due to my hometown baseball team being called the Brockton Rocks. They're like, what should we do? Sell rocks to the kids? They did. I bought one. I loved it. I carried it around with me every day. It kind of became my thing until I got a back brace. And then I put it away because I was like, that's too many weird things. We got to put her away for a couple of years. I took her to Paris during my semester abroad.
Wow.
Then thought I lost her in Paris. She's gone for 10 years, right? And I thought she's never coming back.
Oh my God.
Not 10, 8 years, a long time. I go home last summer. My dad is like clearing out our house, has left a bunch of items on my childhood bed. Lo and fucking behold, there she is. I lose my mind. We immediately begin traveling the country together again. We're having a great time. I bring her to the Magic Castle about a month and a half ago. Then next morning, can't find her. I was like, holy shit, it's happened again. She's gone. There's no time. I've been touring. I'm back on the road without her. It crosses my mind, but I'm like, I can't. I only found her when I forgot, when all hope was lost. So I cannot look. I just need to let her come back, right? My book comes out last week. I'm asleep on the couch because I'm leaving the next morning. I am hungover. I wake up the next morning on the floor. There she fucking is. So I just wanted to shout out her coming back again. It was a much shorter absence than 8 years. It was about 2 weeks this time. She could leave at any moment, and so I cherish every moment, and that's why I'm so thrilled to be with the two of you and my pet rock in New York today.
Wow. Woo! Wow. Well, that was amazing.
That was incredible. She's very much giving Where'd You Go, Bernadette.
Also, I hate when like a pet rock is better traveled than I am.
I know.
It's not fair.
It's great.
Well,
she should guest on the pod.
She should. She's actually pretty chic.
Her
Check the shit out.
her
wow.
straight topic
I
is
know.
soil.
We really need to
So
queer the
stupid.
soil.
Wow. Well, this has been an absolute delight. Thank you for doing the podcast. And honestly, thank you for being here in our most trying time.
Yeah.
We came in... I've actually never been lower in my entire life than at the beginning of this podcast.
I feel like you've really bounced back,
We
which is like the
absolutely
consummate
have.
professional I know you to be.
Well, I feel much better, and I couldn't have done it without you.
I'm so relaxed.
you
And
so
thank you
much.
for saving the publishing industry
Yes.
With stand-up comedy.
with stand-up comedy.
Thank you for saving books. The written word has never meant more than it does today.
Yes. Thank you for
Thank you
writing
so
Raw
much.
Dog by Jamie Loftus. Thank you for subjecting yourself to thousands of hot dogs.
Not that many. I mean, a good like
Hundreds.
250. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
bunch.
a lot of hot dogs.
For the
A
sake
lot.
of your public
Mm-hmm.
and everyone listening, go out and buy Raw Dog by Jamie Loftus, or even buy the audiobook, which you read yourself.
I sure do.
Ooh, crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.